Welcome to the Book Nook, everyone.
Hey there.
I am so excited for you to be joining us today because we have a truly incredible deep dive lined up for you.
Oh, yeah, this is a big one.
It really is. Today, we are focusing entirely on a book that, well, it honestly might fundamentally change how you view every single relationship in your life.
No pressure or anything, right?
Right. But seriously, we are unpacking The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. And our mission for this deep dive is to basically explore how most of us are doing human connection entirely backwards.
Completely
We
backwards.
basically built our romantic lives on, fear and control. And Ruiz gives us the exact roadmap for how to shift that paradigm.
Yeah, it's just a phenomenal text to work through. But to really get what he's saying, we have to kind of look at where his ideas come from.
Yeah, let's give some context on the author, because Don Miguel Ruiz isn't coming at this from like a clinical psychology background.
Right, exactly. He is actually a Nagual, which is a master from the Eagle Knight lineage. He shares the esoteric wisdom of the Toltec.
And when we say Toltec, we aren't just talking about, a demographic group in ancient Mexico, right?
Well, anthropologists usually just categorize them as an indigenous nation in southern Mexico, sure. But the esoteric tradition defines the Toltec as a society of basically scientists and artists.
Scientists and artists, I love that combination.
Yeah, they were this highly specialized community formed to explore and preserve spiritual knowledge, and they studied at Teotihuacan.
Which is the city of pyramids, right? Outside of modern-day Mexico City.
That's the one. It translates to the place where man becomes God. And their whole thing wasn't just abstract philosophy. They studied the tangible, everyday mechanics of human perception.
How we see reality, basically.
Exactly. How society conditions our minds and, how we can actually break out of that conditioning.
Which leads us right into the first major concept in the book. And I have to say, it is a wonderfully provocative way to start.
It really catches you off guard.
It does, because he argues that you, the person listening to us right now, you are already a master. And when I first read that, I had this knee-jerk reaction. Because when I hear master, I picture, I don't know, a monk sitting on a mountain who never gets angry.
Yeah, we totally equate mastery with, moral superiority or enlightenment. But Ruiz strips all that moral baggage away.
He looks at it purely mechanically.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. If you want to become a master at absolutely anything, what do you have to do?
You just have to practice.
Repetition.
Right. You practice a behavior for years. Like, let's look at a toddler. A kid faces a problem, gets frustrated, and throws a tantrum.
Classic.
And in that moment, the tantrum works. The
Got it.
parents give in, the kid gets the toy, problem solved.
So the kid's brain just logs that as a win, like anger equals threat neutralized.
You got it. And so they do it again.
Yeah.
And again, they practice this emotional reaction thousands of times throughout their childhood and into adulthood.
Until it's completely automatic.
Yeah, it requires zero conscious thought. You haven't just formed a habit. You are a literal master of anger, or a master of jealousy, or, self-rejection. I mean, it's wild to think about. All our relational suffering isn't because we're broken.
No, not at all.
It's just the product of intense, highly successful practice. We're like artists of our own misery.
We really are. So if you want to master love, Ruiz is basically saying you don't need to find some hidden esoteric secret.
You just have to redirect the practice. You have to practice love.
Exactly. And this is a massive but before we can practice love, we have to take a really brutal look at our current baseline.
Oh, man. Yeah. The analogy he uses here is just,
Yeah.
it's one of the most vivid and honestly disturbing frameworks for psychology I've ever read.
The skin disease analogy.
Yeah. So let's really build this world out for the listener because the implications are huge. Ruiz says, imagine a planet where every single person has a severe infectious skin disease.
Like everyone is covered head to toe in painful, oozing wounds.
Right. And the slightest physical touch just causes excruciating agony. But here is the critical part of the thought experiment. Yes, time. Because everyone has had this disease for thousands of years, the culture has totally adapted to it.
It's just considered normal. Even the medical books on this planet would say, yeah, bodies are supposed to be covered in agonizing wounds.
It's just healthy physiology. Like, you might be born with smooth skin, but by the time you're a toddler, the wounds open up.
And by puberty, you're covered in them. So just think about how people would interact on a planet like that.
It would be a nightmare. Intimacy would be a literal minefield.
Right, you'd have to keep strict physical distance. Every interaction would be calculated based on the risk of being bumped into.
A hug wouldn't mean warmth. It would be a terrifying risk.
Exactly. And Ruiz says this perfectly maps onto our psychological reality.
Our emotional bodies are exactly like the people on that planet. We walk around covered in invisible emotional wounds.
Wounds filled with the poison of past traumas, rejections, all our fears.
And when someone interacts with us, they inevitably brush up against one of those wounds.
And it hurts. It could be something so small, right? Like a partner forgetting to buy milk or a friend not texting back fast enough.
Or a weird look from a coworker. But when that emotional wound is touched, the pain is blinding.
So what do? We attack. We build defensive walls. We snap at our partner to make sure they back off before they touch another wound.
We normalize this constant, low-level emotional warfare. And we read all these relationship books that just teach us how to negotiate the battlefield.
Yeah, they teach us how to put bandages on the wounds, but they never ask how to cure the disease itself.
Right. But to cure it, we have to know where these wounds come from. I mean, babies aren't born terrified of rejection.
No, they aren't. The wounds are created through what the Toltecs call domestication.
It's driven by the dream of the planet, right?
Exactly. Before you were even born, human society had already built this massive collective dream. All the rules, religions, legal systems.
The cultural expectations, the very specific definitions of what is beautiful or successful.
It's the operating system of humanity. And from the moment you're born, your parents, your schools, the media, they all start installing that software into your brain.
Mostly through a system of reward and punishment.
Yep. If you follow the rules, you get attention and praise. You get what feels like love.
But if you break the rules, you get punished. You get scolded or isolated.
And eventually you internalize all of that. Those external rules become 1,000 voices inside your own head.
The mitote.
Yes, the mitote. It's like a busy Mexican market where everyone is screaming at you at the exact same time.
And the most dangerous weapon those voices use against us is this false image of perfection.
Right. Society gives us this image of absolute perfection.
Now, I want to push back on this a little bit, because when I was reading this part, a red flag went up for me.
Okay, let's hear it.
Isn't having an ideal to strive for a good thing? I mean, if we don't have a standard for a good career or a good partner, don't we just kind of stagnate?
It's a really common pushback, especially for high achievers. But that is actually the exact defense mechanism the mitote uses to keep the system running.
Oh, really? How so?
Because we have to separate a goal from an image of perfection. A goal is a direction, like a compass.
Okay, that makes sense.
But an image of perfection is a rigid, completely unforgiving standard that you use to determine your own worth.
Got it. And Ruiz argues that this image is a lie because it's fundamentally impossible to achieve.
It's a mashup of completely contradictory standards, like you have to be wildly successful at work, but also perfectly present at home.
You have to look like a fitness model, but never care about what you eat.
Right. And because you are a human being in the real world, you are going to fail to meet those standards.
Inevitably.
And when you fail, you look in the mirror and the internal judge strikes the gavel and says, guilty.
And in this dream of the planet, guilt requires punishment.
Endlessly. You don't just pay for a mistake once. You remember it a week later and you punish yourself again.
Oh, I know that feeling. It's like you become the judge, the jury, and the executioner inside your own mind.
Every single time we judge and reject ourselves, we open a new emotional wound. We inject more poison into our system.
And this mechanism of self-punishment brings up what I think is the biggest aha moment of this entire deep dive.
It is a huge realization.
It's about why we tolerate toxic relationships. Ruiz says you have a specific, measurable limit to the amount of abuse you will accept from someone else.
But the kicker is, no one in the whole world abuses you more than you abuse yourself.
That is just so heavy. You set your own baseline.
Yeah, it's an internal equilibrium. How much you reject and punish yourself sets the bar for what you consider normal treatment.
Let's actually give an example of how this plays out. Let's say your internal baseline of self-abuse is a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
You constantly tell yourself you're ugly or you're not smart enough or whatever.
Yeah.
Now someone comes along and treats you at a 9. They are blatantly cruel.
Your survival instinct kicks in, the cognitive dissonance is too much, so you walk away.
Right. They exceeded your limit. But what if a partner comes along and treats you at a 5?
You stay.
You stay. Even though a 5 is still abuse, it's still emotional manipulation or neglect.
But you stay because it feels congruent with your own internal self-assessment. Your mitote basically says, well, of course they treat me like this. I deserve it.
It's so insidious. We actively seek out partners who validate our own self-rejection.
We curate our relationships to match the exact flavor of our own internal punishment.
But if this dream of hell is so painful, why do we stay in it? Like, why doesn't our logic just save us?
Because logic actually builds the strongest prisons.
Mm.
Ruiz has this incredible story about a scholar to prove this.
Oh, yes, the story of the man who didn't believe in love. Tell that one.
So there's this ordinary guy, but he's intellectually brilliant, goes to the best universities, studies all the philosophies, becomes a massive scholar.
And he comes up with a very specific, radical thesis.
Right. Through all his sociological observations, he concludes that love just does not exist.
He literally stood in public squares giving these airtight logical arguments that love is just a social construct.
He argued it was invented by poets and religions to manipulate weak minds. He compared love to a severe drug addiction.
That part was wild.
Yeah.
He basically said that falling in love is just getting a massive dopamine hit of validation from someone.
Yep. We become completely dependent on our daily dose of their attention and approval.
And what happens when an addict's supply is threatened? They panic.
They go through withdrawal. The scholar looked at couples arguing, getting jealous, trying to control each other, and he said, look, that's not divine. That's just two addicts terrified of losing their supply.
He said they'll destroy each other just to avoid the withdrawal of being alone.
And the real tragedy of this scholar's story, his data was completely accurate.
Oh, totally. You look around at modern romance and that dynamic is everywhere.
The emotional blackmail, the resentment, the fear of abandonment, he wasn't making it up.
But his conclusion was wrong, because he wasn't actually observing love.
Exactly. He was observing relationships running on what the Toltecs call the track of fear.
We really need to break down these two tracks, because everyone is on one or the other. What is the track of fear?
The track of fear is the default for a wounded mind. It's entirely conditional and based on obligations.
It's those unspoken contracts we hand our partners. Like, if you love me, you have to fulfill all my needs and never trigger my wounds.
And when the partner inevitably fails, we try to control them. We use guilt or the silent treatment.
And Ruiz points out something really chilling here. We don't just do this to our romantic partners. We pass this poison directly to our children.
Yeah, the generational transmission of the skin disease.
Parents use their kids as a dump for their emotional garbage. A dad might say, women will just take your money. Or mom says, never trust a man.
They take their infected worldview and install it right into the child's clean mind.
So we end up using these obsolete, corrupted channels of communication. We stay together out of fear, not love.
Right. Contrast that with the track of love, which the scholar couldn't even see because of his own wounds.
What's the track of love based on?
Zero obligations. None. There is no you owe me. It's based purely on action, respect, and absolute freedom.
Okay, so if we've been operating on the track of fear, which, let's be honest, we all have, how do we shift over to the track of love?
Ruiz gives us a rule that is so simple it almost offends our modern, complicated sensibilities.
The dog and the cat analogy. I absolutely love this part.
It's brilliant. He basically says, if you want a dog, you go get a dog.
Makes sense.
And when you bring that dog home, you accept that it is a dog. It barks, it chews things. You cannot change a dog into a cat.
Okay, let's pause, because this is exactly where human psychology does backflips.
Right.
Because we know we can't change a dog into a cat. But in relationships, we find a dog, fall in love with it, and then think, well, I really prefer cats.
If we just go to couples therapy, I can get this dog to meow a little bit.
Yes, just meow on the weekends to meet my needs. Why on earth do we do this?
Because true acceptance requires facing uncertainty. And a wounded mind hates uncertainty. If we can force our partner to follow our script, they become predictable. They become safe.
But Ruiz completely shuts this down in the text.
Uncompromisingly.
Yeah.
He says, why are you with a dog if you want a cat? Get a cat.
You cannot change other people. It is the ultimate lack of respect for their fundamental nature.
You love them exactly as they are, or you walk away. Trying to change them destroys their freedom and yours.
Because then you basically give yourself a full-time job as their warden.
Exactly. You have to constantly police their behavior to make sure they are maintaining the changes you forced on them.
Which just makes both of you miserable.
Ruiz compares it to a lock and a key. You don't need a replica of yourself, but the key has to naturally fit the lock.
And if it doesn't fit, you don't take a hammer and smash it in.
No, you accept it's the wrong key. Give them the dignity to find a lock they actually fit.
That requires so much self-awareness. Which leads perfectly into his 50-50 rule of garbage.
This is crucial for healthy boundaries. In any relationship, there are two halves. You are one half, they are the other.
And you are only responsible for your half.
Only your half. You can never truly cross into their mind and know what their mitote is doing.
But our instinct is always to cross the border. Like, if my partner is stressed, I want to manage their emotions for them.
Right, we think we're helping.
I always think of it like walking into your partner's office and seeing a horribly messy desk.
Oh, this is a great analogy.
You love them, so you spend an hour organizing their files and throwing away the trash. But when they walk in,
They are furious.
yes, because they knew exactly where everything was, and you just violated their space.
That is exactly what Ruiz means by the garbage metaphor. Your half has your emotional garbage, and their half has theirs.
And if you stick your nose over the line to clean their garbage,
You get a broken nose.
because nobody wants you rummaging in their psychological trash,
Exactly. You grant them the dignity to process their own healing.
let's run a real-world scenario. Your partner comes home from work, and they are just radiating anger. Bad day, boss yelled at them.
If you're on the track of fear, your nervous system immediately dysregulates.
You take it personally. You think, are they mad at me? Why are they ruining my night?
Or you jump the boundary and try to give them unsolicited career advice.
And then they snap at you, and suddenly you're screaming at each other in the kitchen.
But on the track of love, you recognize their anger is entirely on their side of the border.
Ruiz even gives a script for this, doesn't he?
He does. You can basically say, you have the right to be mad, but I didn't cause it, so I won't be mad with you.
You don't argue with them. You don't tell them to calm down, which never works anyway.
Never works. You respect their process without intervening.
To a codependent mind, that sounds kind of cold, like you're abandoning them.
It feels like it at first, but it's actually the highest form of respect. By not stepping into their garbage, you stop the emotional poison from spreading.
You stay anchored, which actually helps them regulate eventually. Okay, so if we aren't demanding our partner fixes our garbage, and we aren't trying to change them.
Where do we get the love we need?
Yes, that is the huge glaring question. Where do we get the love, if not from them?
This is the pivot point of the whole book, the magical kitchen.
I adore this metaphor.
Yeah.
So imagine you have a magical kitchen inside your house.
A kitchen that defies physics.
Right. It can instantly produce infinite amounts of the most delicious Michelin star food in the world.
Any cuisine, perfectly prepared whenever you want.
If you have that kitchen, are you ever going to walk outside and beg a stranger in the street for a stale crust of bread?
It would be totally absurd.
If some guy offered you a cold slice of pizza, but said, you can only have this if you let me control your life and never look at anyone else, what would you do?
You'd laugh in his face. You'd say,
Yeah.
keep your cold pizza, I have infinite feasts at home.
Exactly. And the food obviously represents love.
Our heart is that magical kitchen. We are biologically and spiritually capable of generating infinite, unconditional love for ourselves.
But because of the skin disease, because of our domestication, we closed the kitchen a long time ago.
We learned that opening our hearts led to pain, so we locked the door and threw away the key.
And now we walk around completely, utterly starving.
And starving people are dangerous. They will do desperate things.
When you are starving for love, you will absolutely accept the cold pizza.
You'll accept tiny scraps of affection wrapped in abuse just because it's better than starving.
And this starvation is the real root of selfishness in relationships. We think we are out there looking for love.
But we aren't. We're looking for someone who needs us.
Oh, that hit me hard when I read it.
Right.
We want someone just as starving as we are.
Because if they are addicted to the little crumbs we drop for them, we have the power. We can control them.
Two starving beggars fighting over a scrap of bread while they both have locked magical kitchens inside their chests.
Ruiz has a really harsh critique of modern relationship advice based on this.
Yes. He says most of those self-help books should be retitled How to Be Sexually Selfish.
Which is brutally accurate. What are they actually teaching you?
Advanced negotiation tactics for the track of fear. If you do X, your partner will give you Y.
It treats intimacy like a corporate merger. But love isn't a tactic you deploy. It's our nature.
We just have to tune our emotional body back to it. So
yeah.
how do we do that? How do we cure the disease and unlock the kitchen?
Ruiz says we have to become the divine huntress. We have to hunt the love inside ourselves.
Right. He uses the archetype of the Greek god Hermes here.
Right. Hermes was the messenger, incredibly fast and impossible to distract.
Because when you start hunting inward, The method is going to scream at you to look away.
Look at the news. Look at your neighbor's car. Remember that embarrassing thing you did?
You have to be like Hermes, cut through the noise and stay focused. And this leads to the practice he calls the puja.
This is where we confront the dream of the planet head-on. A puja is a ritual of deep devotion.
But he asks us to direct this devotion toward our own physical bodies.
Which is radical because society gives us impossible standards of beauty. 99% of people don't fit them.
So our default state is just rejecting our bodies.
Yeah.
But Ruiz says, think about how you look at a pet dog.
You don't look at a golden retriever and analyze if its ears are perfectly symmetrical?
You don't judge it for not having a six-pack. You just look at it with pure, ecstatic love.
No judgment, just appreciation for its existence. And he challenges us to apply that exact gaze to ourselves.
To look in the mirror and flood your own physical form with that unconditional acceptance.
Bypassing the Metodi's voice entirely. And if you can do that, it completely transforms intimacy.
Because when a lover touches you, you aren't terrified they're judging your flaws.
You don't need them to tell you you're beautiful to feel worthy because your half of the relationship is full.
Your kitchen is open. You're just sharing the feast.
But to keep it open permanently, there is one final, crucial step. The ultimate medicine.
Forgiveness.
Yes. First, forgiving others. Realizing that whatever anyone did to you had nothing to do with you.
Our egos hate that. We want to be the main character. They did this to me.
But they were just reacting to the demons in their own dream of hell. They blindly swung a sword, and you were in the crossfire.
They didn't hurt you because of you. They hurt you because of them.
And once you internalize that, the anger dissolves into compassion, which cleans out the poison.
But that's just the warm-up act. The final step is the supreme forgiveness.
Which is forgiving yourself.
Forgiving yourself for all the poison you created. For believing the lies of perfection.
And this breaks what Ruiz calls karma. He says karma only exists because we believe we deserve punishment.
So it's not a cosmic ledger where a piano falls on your head.
No, it's psychological. We feel guilty, so we subconsciously manifest our own punishment to pay the debt.
We sabotage our own lives. But if we refuse to believe the guilt and forgive ourselves...
The karma is instantly gone. The ledger is wiped clean.
Wow. That is such a profound place to end up. We've covered the skin disease, the metode, the scholar, the dog and the cat, the magical kitchen.
And supreme forgiveness. It really shifts the entire paradigm of relationships.
It moves us from a transactional war of control to giving from an overflowing cup.
If you are exhausted by relationship drama, this book is essential reading. It teaches you to be a dream master.
To turn your life into a masterpiece of art. And to close this deep dive, we want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to mull over.
Ruiz paints this picture of ultimate healing. He says, imagine looking at a tree or the sky and feeling your soul completely fulfilled by love.
Realizing that God and life are everywhere, and you need absolutely nothing to feel complete.
So here is the question. If you could reach that state of total fulfillment right now,
how would that fundamentally change the way you interact with the very next person who walks into the room?
If you needed absolutely nothing from them, how would that change what you freely give?
It changes everything. Well, we hope this deep dive brought some clarity and fresh perspective to your journey.
It's been great exploring this with you all.
Make sure to subscribe to the Book Nook so you never miss a deep dive into transformative growth.
Keep that magical kitchen open.
And we want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell us which book you'd like us to explore next. We read every single one. Take care.